Hello and welcome back to Not Another Bodybuilding Podcast, where we are trying to be not just another bodybuilding podcast. So I've got a great guest with me today. I'm sure we'll get into it, but he is the previous BNBF 2019 Junior British Champion. His name is Queey, as you might know him, and I am really happy to get him on the show. My first British champ on the show, so thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I've actually watched a lot of your podcast. I watched the one you did with Steph, and yeah, it's good to have me on the show, man.
You're my first non-Scottish or non-local athlete that I've had on, so you're gonna have to do it justice.
I know.
You have to try and beat all Steph's stories about her competing. It's not that many people that can say that they competed. They won their pro cards, they won a British title, and competed at the Universe all in 1 year.
Exactly. Can't really top that, can you? Yeah, Steph's done a lot of stuff, man, in bodybuilding. So I'm gonna try to be as good as she was.
Yeah. So we don't really have a structure, because I don't think we need one, because I just want to talk about last year, to be honest, and how it kind of got up to the stage where it did. So for anyone who doesn't know, that you competed last year, that was your first outing as a natural bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And how did that come about? How long have you been lifting for, and what kind of got you into the mindset of going from just wanting to be in the gym to getting bigger, obviously, to wanting to step on stage?
Okay. So I'm 22 now. I started lifting when I was about 16, 17. So I actually used to play football and used to do sprinting as well. I actually played football at a decent level. So I was playing semi-pro. I think this was I was 16. I've just left high school, and I was playing semi-pro. And over the course of like 3-4 months, I picked up quite a few injuries, like my knees, my hamstrings, and I don't know. I think it was just some weak muscle group. You know, with always sprinting and always playing football, my legs were just pretty weak. So I started going to the gym from there and just trying to get my legs stronger for football. From there, just fell in love with lifting and just stopped playing football and just started lifting.
So that was coming out of school at 16.
Yeah.
What position did you play?
I played all over really, but more like right wing, right back. So you had to be fast, and I think that's what messed me up. My legs up so much with always sprinting and always, because I was that kid that was always doing everything, and I put my body through so much so young, and I think I just didn't give myself enough time to mature and get my bones and ligaments stronger. So I was always picking up a lot of injuries. So that's when I actually started going to the gym, and then ever since I just keep picking up more and more injuries from there. But I love training, so yeah.
So were you kind of that kid that was at one end of the pitch straight back to the other, putting in a good graft on the football pitch?
Yeah, man. Like I've always like I wasn't always the best at it, but I was always that kid that worked hard, just come in 2 hours before training, and I kind of like take that into bodybuilding as well. Just work hard and just do what you can.
Yeah, it's kind of that saying, the more you put in, the more you get out, and putting in the work proves that you get a lot out of it.
Yeah, you know what? I like that saying so much. I even got it on my on my hand, saying you get what you give.
Oh,
just
nice.
a reminder every day that whatever you put in, you get out, man.
Yeah, and some people say you even get more out of it. You get more back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when did you decide that you were? Was it an easy decision to make to kind of cut out the whole football? Was that kind of your dream? Was that kind of what you were aiming for as a career? And what was it hard to kind of give that up?
Yeah, you know what? Since I was a kid, I was always playing football, and that was like my dream. I think back then, you know, as a little kid, especially boys, it's always their dream to play, you know, professional football, but
Yeah.
only if you make it. I got to a certain age, about 16. That was when my other friends was like playing for professional teams and stuff. Just got to a point that I knew that this might not be for me, and it wasn't really a easy decision, but I knew what I wanted, and I wanted to go into the gym, and I've just preferred that really.
Yeah, I think that's, you always hear like, especially all the American bodybuilders, they always come from like American football, and then it's always you hear a lot of stories of them saying they actually preferred the weight training aspect of the actual football.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a similar story to that. It's funny you say that, because I was the same. That's what I was when I was younger. I was always into football.
Okay.
I wanted to be a professional goalkeeper, but
All
then I stopped growing, and
right.
it seemed to not work out that way.
Yeah, because you've got to be tall, right? Like really tall.
Yeah, or good. I had a decent enough jump. I remember the day when I could jump high enough and was tall enough to be able to touch the crossbar with one of my hands. So I was like, oh, I must be ready now. But
Yeah.
it was the same type of thing. The gym can take over, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it can be a bit obsessive. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you kind of agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, like going to the gym and seeing your body change, like it beats no feet. Like you don't get that feeling doing anything else. Like seeing yourself change in the mirror, and I think you just get addicted to, you know, seeing your arms grow a little bigger, your shoulders, your legs, and you just it's something that you can put 100% in and get something back. And I just like that feeling of going to the gym, smashing my sessions, and seeing results. And yeah, I
So
just fell in love with it.
what type of physique were you as a kid? So for example, I was that skinny kid at school, and that's what took me to the gym for the first time.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got your sport, and you had to get your legs stronger and that. But what type of kid were you? Were you kind of that side of things? What was your reason for going
Um,
to the gym?
no, you know, because I was always doing a lot of sports, so I was that kid, you know, in school with like a six pack without even like, you
Yeah,
know, doing anything. So you know, you always get that kid that's just got a little bit more muscle than everyone else, a little bit, you know, a little bit stronger than everyone else. Like I was always like, because I put in a lot of work outside of school, like doing sprinting and all this training and stuff. So I had a bit more muscle than everyone else. I was a bit faster than anyone else, and I think it's just simply because I put in the work, and yeah, that translated in the training, and that's why I love training so much. I just love the challenge of training. Um, so I think you speak to other people, and it's more so like they were skinny and they wanted to get a bit more muscle. For me, it was just a new challenge, and I just
yeah.
thought, why not go for it?
Yeah, so you obviously really enjoyed the gym. You obviously took to it really well.
Yeah.
So going on to the next part of the original question of how did that again evolve from enjoying the gym, enjoying getting stronger, getting bigger to competing?
Okay, so at first, I didn't know anything about bodybuilding, right? I went to a gym just local to me, and there was a few guys in there. And you know, when you're a kid, it's all about how much you can bench. Like if in that gym I went, if you can't bench at least 2 plates, then you've got no right to be there. That's how they made it seem anyway. So like I was always trying to get, you know, strength up. And in there, if you're strong, like people know you and they'll speak to you. If you're not strong, then they won't speak to you. So, you know, you
Yeah,
get these big guys in there. I was just trying to I was always that kid as well that was trying to like do what the older guys are doing. So from there, um, I started training with them. So I started getting my strength up. And at first, I was actually looking to go into powerlifting because that's what everyone did at that gym. They were just like one rep max. Like you will literally bench one rep max every single day.
Yeah.
just to try and get our strength up. So first, I actually was going to go into powerlifting because I thought, oh, that must be what I need to do just because of the other people in the gym. So it was then when I started picking up quite a few injuries. Like about seven months into training, I had a mini pec tear.
All
7
right.
months, seven
Yeah.
months in the training,
And was that
and
just from the bad advice that you were picking up?
yeah, that
Or?
was just from benching every single day. Like it's crazy, man. So so when I had all them injuries, that's when I started looking at more. I started going on the internet and just seeing how to actually train, and just getting advice like, oh, you don't need to flipping test your max every single day. There's other exercise you can do that doesn't put as much stress on the muscle and on the joints. So I started looking into that, and from then the first ever bodybuilder I actually seen was on Facebook, by a guy by the name of Shane Raymond. Do you know?
Yeah, I know.
Shane Raymond?
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
Shane Raymond.
he competes within the BNBF,
Yeah.
and he was the first bodybuilder I seen, and that's when I started looking more at other bodybuilders around him because Facebook friends, starting to just trying to get to know what bodybuilding was, and I started meeting all the other bodybuilders like David Kay, Nate Williams. So I just literally added all of them on Facebook, and I remember messaging, I think it was David Kay, and just asking him about like just general questions about how we got into the sport, what how his training was, what he did for his diet and stuff. So I just started doing that to a bunch of bodybuilders, just messaging them and trying to get information, and I tailored my plan around what they would say to me.
Yeah.
So that's when I started really getting into bodybuilding, and then it was 2000 and I think it was 2018. I went to watch the BNBF British finals, and literally that blew my mind away. Like just seeing the level of physiques on stage, it was just unreal. I've been to watch some other shows, but never like a British standard British finals at that standard.
Do you remember seeing me? Yeah, I doubt you do, but I came second to Will.
Oh yeah,
Ian's.
I remember. I remember you had really good conditioning.
Yeah, I think that was the one thing I kept getting told, that I had good conditioning for a teen, which was
Yeah,
a very big compliment.
yeah, it was, man. It was like you see a lot of teams nowadays. They're not able to get into that kind of conditioning you got into anyway. So props to you, man. So anyways, I went to that British finals, and I've been to watch some other shows before that, like I said, but not like a British standard, level. So I went to watch that show, and I was thinking, do I want to compete? Like, do I really want to compete? I still wasn't too sure. And then I messaged Rob Waterhouse, which is DFAC Pro as well. And I was like, I said to him, oh, I think I want to compete. Would you be able to prep me for my off season? Because by then I was just, picking things of other people and trying to follow it. I didn't really have a good enough structure for me to follow in the off season, nutrition wise. So I got in touch with Rob, and he set me up with a nutrition plan to follow through my off season. And I wasn't actually planning to compete in 2019. I was planning to compete in 2020 because I thought for the rest of the 2018, I'll follow this plan, and then 2019, I'll follow off-season plan, and then maybe compete in the
This year.
in 2020. Yeah,
It's
but
a good job
Rob
you
was
didn't.
like, I know. Rob was like, no, I think you got enough muscle to compete in, the juniors and do okay. So that's when Ed screwed on. I was like, okay, I need to smash my off season right now, and then hope to do well in the juniors the next year. And that's how we all came about to competing.
Yeah, that's good. So it's almost like you were It's good that you didn't rush into it. You got the right advice, and you didn't just try and do a show. Are you sound like that type of person that wants all the information that they can
All
get?
the information first. Like I like to know what I'm getting into, and I feel like that's what's missing nowadays. People are competing in their first show, and that's the first show they've been to. That's the first bodybuilding, so they don't know like how the shows run or the people that's judging the show, or do you know what I mean? So I like to know everything, what I'm getting into, and then get into it.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. It's like when people ask you questions about like what happens on the show day, and you'll give them the help that they want, but you've got to remember that. I remember when I first wanted to compete, I googled everything. I watched YouTube videos of people on show days. I looked at all the BNBF Facebook pages. I flicked right back to the last year to see what happened. I'd done as much research as I could, so I knew exactly what I was going into, because you'd hate to go into something and realize you got something wrong, or you needed to bring something. It's like when you see people come up into the shows and they haven't tanned or they haven't shaved. It's things like that.
I mean, you still see that year after year, though, and I don't know how like some people still do it. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I think it is just people rushing into it and not putting in the work, and even just researching a show, that's another example of putting in the work. But yeah, like you say, you do see it every year, and you do wonder, but I don't think it's ever going to go away.
No, I don't think so, man.
Yeah, so that took you to the end of 2018. So you were trying to make the most out of your off season, so was it pretty much on Bob Waterhouse that you did decide to compete in 2019, and I want to ask as well, when you were watching that British finals, were you looking at the junior lineup and being like, I don't know if I can fit in here, or was it more like I could do this?
Not. It was kind of a bit of both, really, because I remember that 2018 British finals really well, because my friend Dennis actually won it then, and I knew Dennis before the competition, so I knew how good Dennis was, and I think Chris McCready came second, I think, that junior lineup, and I think it was
Dan Argent.
Dan Argent that came third, and these are really good guys, like really standout juniors, to be honest. And it was a weird one because Rob was always telling me that you need to get lean first to know how you stand against other people. Just don't never compare yourself in the off season with someone else that's stage ready. Yeah. So I was a bit of mixed feelings. I came off that British finals, like watching it, motivated that I think I could possibly do this. And I think it just gave me a little kick up the arse as well. Like, these guys are not playing, and I need to, if I want to compete next year, I need to step my game up. So, and that's what I did, man. Just kept training and just had that picture in mind, man. I've actually framed that, the picture of the juniors in 2018 and just stuck it up my wall. Like, this was, last year's level, and I need to step it up.
It must have been good as well to see someone take that title, and in such a good way. He was an unbelievable winner.
Yeah, Dennis is standout junior, man. Nice guy as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because you did end up going his exact same route.
Exactly.
So that picture must have done something.
It was exactly the same thing. Yeah, I know.
So we'll go into that then. So 2019 comes around. You was it always a plan to do the Welsh?
No, it was actually a plan to do the Midlands.
Was that before? So
the Midlands is just before the British, actually. It's like, I think it's 5 weeks before the British.
Oh, yeah.
6 weeks anyway. And the Welsh is about 13 weeks, I think, before the British. But as we was dieting, the weight was just I remember while I was dieting, like the weight was just like coming off fast, and we didn't really have to do anything. And I was just thinking like is this meant to happen? Like, do you know what I mean? And Bob was like, if you're losing weight and we're not dropping food too low, and you're not doing too much cardio, then you've got nothing to worry about, and we can possibly do a earlier show. And if you don't qualify, you can always do another qualifier just in case. And yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, so you ended up doing the Welsh, which is I think, was that season, that was the third qualifier, was it? Or the third or
Welsh
fourth?
Was the yeah.
Yeah, because it went Scottish, Northern Ireland, then Welsh, I think. So
Yeah.
it was quite a long way out from the British, which is you probably notice that sometimes, on occasion, you see people that do earlier qualifiers, they don't do as well in the British because they sometimes peak too early. So we'll quickly run through so you said that prep was, you felt like it was, we're not going to use the word easy because I don't think
preps. When I say when I say easy, I mean easier than I expected. You know, you've always seen people on Instagram saying, "Oh, I'm going to war," or "I feel like shit," or like prep feels like death. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I had that in mind, that I was gonna feel like that. So when I wasn't feeling like that, I was like, "Oh, like, am I doing something wrong?"
Yeah.
But it's never easy.
I think consistency is one thing that, it's the people that aren't consistent and cheat on their diets, they're the ones that need to end up doing 2 hours of cardio a day and eating and going keto pretty much. So I think that's what kind of that's how I kind of felt. It was the consistency that kept me going.
Before we move on, I should actually say between about 12 weeks out of the Welsh, I actually went to the BNBF posing clubs, and I met up with and it was in Scotland. I went with a couple mates of mine, Chris and Aaron. Aaron was competing that year as well, and we got some.
BBC.
That's I know, and we got some pretty good advice of Vicky McCann and Guy Addison. So and they thought I looked pretty good as well. That's what actually pushed me a bit more to do the Welsh, because getting advice, getting compliments from guys like Vicky and Dave and Guy saying, "Oh, you look really well." They think I could be ready in time to do the Welsh, and that was pretty good. And Guy Addison actually owns a company Unrivaled Nutrition. He actually he says, "Oh, we'll help you out with like supplements and tanning and all of that stuff." So they came on board in my prep as well, and actually helped me out with just posing and a bit of nutrition and all of that stuff. So that was really good. Getting from like them guys that's been in the sport for God knows how long.
Yeah, and was that when you got that appearance on In the Spotlight? Was that after that?
Yeah, so it was around the same time where I got In the Spotlight, which is like a little what can you call it? Like a little interview that BNBF do just to like showcase the athletes that's going to be competing.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that, and then I was like, who's this? Who's this guy? And then I seen that he was a junior competitor, and I was like, all right. And I was like, I know the BNBF, and I know that they must have seen something in this guy. And from then, that is when I was like, he's going to be one to watch. I just had a feeling, and I was right to have a feeling. I think at that point, I was like, that's when I think a lot of people got to know you.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. It was a good thing.
Yeah,
for
I
you
mean,
to
yeah,
do.
it was kind of a good exposure, you know, because I obviously just coming off like not never competing before. It was nice to like, you know, just get my name out there a little bit and people like being a guide, you know, to like watch out for and stuff. So it was nice. It was nice. It was a good thing, and you know, I'll always respect, you know, the BNBF and, you know, Vicky and Guy and that for, you know, putting me out there and, you know, putting my name on that platform.
Yeah, definitely. So let's take it forward to that show day of the
Yeah.
Welsh qualifier. How did you feel leading up to that? Did you first off, did you peak for it?
Did I like a peak week?
Did you do a peak week?
All right, yeah. So I did do a peak week and it was fucking brutal.
All
Like
right.
I like nothing I've ever done before. So everyone knows Vicky and Guy are like, you know, really high carbs dieters, and they promote like keeping your carbs as, you know, high as possible.
Yeah.
So basically that's what we did our prep, and when it came to the peak week, I'm peaking for the show. We just did like a old school, you know, depletion, and then we did a, you know, carb up.
Yeah.
But when I talk about carb up, it's like a lot of carbs. Like it was crazy.
What are we talking?
We're talking on first day something like 1,300 grams
Grams
of
of
carbs
carbs.
first day.
Talking.
First day, that a lot of potatoes. A lot of
Yeah.
potatoes.
We like our potatoes
That's
up in Scotland.
hmm?
We like the potatoes up in Scotland. I knew
Oh man,
that's
like it was nothing. Like it was literally, it was nothing. It was like it was crazy because I can't even explain it, man. I just brutal. I mean, but it worked, so you know, I'm not complaining.
yeah. It probably at the start of the day you probably felt it was amazing getting to eat all
Oh
that food
mate,
after dieting, and then probably by like the probably put about the 800 grams of carb mark, you were probably like, oh my god, my stomach isn't handling this.
mate, it's crazy because you've not, because after the, you know, depletion, you're like really low calories, just eating mainly protein and, you know, a bit of veg and stuff,
Yeah.
and you know, doing that for like 3 days and then having to, you know, load that much carbs is it's crazy. But obviously that was what was needed, you know, for me to fill back out and, you know, keep that tight conditioning, but also get fuller.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the first time you do a kind of try and peak for a show as a amateur first time competitor, you don't understand how this is going to work. You get the
At all.
logic behind it, but it's a bit nerve wracking as well.
Yeah, I mean, like the logic was like, you know, the logic was there because like it's depletion, then a lot of carbs, you know, super compensating on whatever you've lost before, and you know, so I get what we was doing, but actually doing it was crazy because I remember Vicky sent me my plan, my you know, my peak plan, you know, with it. So I looked at the you know, the carb up. So I think I messaged Vicky. I was like, are you sure about this? Like, you want me to eat all of this? So yeah, it's crazy, man. But you know, it worked, and she clearly knows what she's doing because she's been doing it for a long time, and you
Yeah.
know, she's had plenty of success that people don't even know about because she doesn't, you know, brag about it.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Like you hear a lot of people, especially now with this kind of big influx of like podcasts and people going a bit more vocal on Instagram. You hear about
Yeah,
what so many people have done and where they've got their knowledge from, and
yeah.
so it's great to hear. So let's talk about show day. Were you nervous? Were you excited? Were you anxious? Were you
Um,
worried that you were gonna mess up or trip up on stage? How were you feeling?
oh God, like I on show day itself, I wasn't really too nervous, but days leading up to it, you know, you're always like checking yourself in the mirror, just making sure you look good. Especially when it's your first time, you don't really know what to, expect and what looks good and what doesn't. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
you've got
I
nothing
had a
to
rough
compare
night.
it to.
yeah, I had a rough idea that I looked okay, but still wasn't sure on how I'd look on stage. And so I was a bit, nervous of getting on stage, especially having my mum and dad there. I didn't want to, mess up, especially for them, because obviously they've seen the graft I've had to go through. I just wanted, to be, rewarded for, the hard work that I put in. So yeah, I was a bit nervous, but nothing too much. I remember the night before that the show, I actually slept like a baby, because I had to look at myself. I was like, I must look okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, I must look all right. Especially, the feedback from Vicky was that she was happy with how I was looking. So I was like, I must look okay then.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
Slept like a baby. Wake up the next morning. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror because I shared a room with my friend Chris, and he was like, "Oh mate, you look really good." So from there, I was like, "All right," because I trust his, input on things. Because I know, Chris Edge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He's not a type of guy to bullshit you. If you look good, he'll tell you, and if you don't, he'll tell you. So it was like, "You look good, mate. You got nothing to worry about. Just go out there and do your best." So that's what I did. Wasn't too nervous, and I had my friends around me as well, so it was pretty good. Just to, because obviously it's your first time. It's always nice to have other people that's done it before around you. So yeah, I felt all right. Didn't feel too nervous.
That's good. So it's good that you weren't too nervous, because I think I was nervous at my first shows, but by the British I wasn't as nervous, and you get to enjoy the process a lot more. You get to actually take in that show day.
Yeah, man.
So you ended up taking the class win. You ended up we won't leave all the audience in suspense. You ended up taking the overall and the best wheels. That, if you don't know the BNBF, they give a trophy out for whatever competitor they feel has the best legs. So we'll talk about the class win first, because obviously that was the first thing in your head. You were wanting to, obviously, first thing first, qualify for that British finals. What was your I can't even remember. I remember I watched every single in this what's it called?
Straight up the table.
Yeah. How many was in your class, and how did that go?
So there was 3 in my class. There was 3 in my class, and I remember backstage. Backstage you're checking out all the guys and just trying to see how they look, and certain guys was in the corner, not talking to anyone, and certain guys was, pumping up but keeping their clothes on, and, you try to, like, psych everyone out. But when it was time to, get on stage, the 2 guys I was with were really friendly, man. We chatted and, just talked about, what you're having, the usual chat about what you're having post-show and all of that, and how's your prep for it. So, but it was good, man. Like, I chatted to them, and we all got on stage and just, just competed, and it was good. It was good. Getting that class win meant a lot to me. That I just wanted to qualify for the British one, and if I came first or second, I just wanted that, qualification for the British, because that's what I watched the year before and, wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. So you got that win, and then how were you feeling for the overall? Was it did you have any idea of, did you see the other winners from the other classes? Because you were up against Chris Paling, was it?
Yeah, shredded Chris, they call him.
Yeah, he's a very, very good competitor.
Probably the most shredded guy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that photo of him at one of the British finals, his ass, that walnut ass photo that was going about.
It's crazy, man. I don't even know how it's possible to get that lean. It's mad.
Yeah, so he was there. He won the lightweights at that show. Yeah. Was there anyone else in that overall lineup?
It was Callum Mackay. He ended up winning the DFAC middleweight title, later in the season. Yeah. But yeah, class competitors, man. When it was so real, because I remember watching Chris. He was at the 2018 British finals as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy, man. Like after winning my class, then I remember, I think it was because in the BNBF you have a pre-judging and night show.
Yeah.
And after the pre-judging, you get a little break before the night show. I remember, I think it was Chris and Bob was telling me that you've got a shot at the overall. They think it might be out of me or Chris Palin. So from then I was excited and ready to try my luck in the overall.
Yeah.
So when we got on stage for the overall, I was confident and just thought like if he's gonna win this, he's gonna have to fight for it. And
Yeah,
so
good mentality.
Exactly. So I just gave my all, and when they announced me for best wheels, that was enough for me. I was ready to go home by then. And then
I want to know, were you quietly confident then? Because the amount of times you hear, that a lot of people that win best wheels, a lot of them can win the overall as well. So were you a bit like, okay, here we go at that point?
I wasn't. I've seen guys win the best wheels, but not the overall before.
Yeah,
so
I've seen it happen.
Yeah, so I wasn't, or sometimes the guy that actually, the guy that actually win the best wheels is the second best guy in the overall. So I've seen it happen a lot of times. So after winning the best wheels, that was actually something that I've always wanted to win because, like I said before, I had a lot of injuries in my legs, and then I've always tried to train them that bit more just because of the injuries. So I was really happy about that best wheels, and then they called me for the overall. Mate, I couldn't believe it. I think there was videos out there of me crying, like I was literally in tears about from winning that overall because you put in, I think it was 25 weeks of diet up till then, putting all that hard work, and it was just amazing to see all your hard work get rewarded for, and my family was there as well, so it was good for them to see all this hard work was paid off, and I didn't just do it for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was great to see. I think people respected the fact that you showed a bit of emotion on stage because it proves that you're not just a lucky guy. You put in the work and you put in that time and effort, and when everyone knows like it will pay off in the end, and it's like that tattoo on your arm, like what you put in, you got back with them with that clean sweep.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I always say, man, whatever you put in, you'll get back. No matter, I mean, sometimes it takes a bit longer to get there, but you will get there, man. And you'll see other people achieve what you want to achieve, and never make comparisons, and just wait for your time, and your time will come.
Exactly.
If you put the work.
Yeah, I think that's great to hear. So you finished the Welsh. What was the plan for after the Welsh? Did you go and celebrate, or was it?
So before even thinking about the British finals, right? It was food. It was food first. I was gonna get myself a nice burger and pizza and everything. So it was literally food first, mate. I just had to, because I've got like takeaways near mine, like restaurants and stuff. So I had my eye on like certain things. So we're just about eating that and getting that on my system, then getting on track again. So I think the night after the night of the show, I think I had a burger, pizza, and some wings, and then I got back on the diet the next day.
Okay, that's good. Was it hard to get back on it, or I know what the answer is going to be. I don't think it was hard. I reckon you were so pumped up about winning that and wanting to do well at the British. It was easy to do.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of like it was weird because like I remember having that food after the show. I'm thinking, I don't really even want this. I just want to, like, I was sitting there with all these trophies. I had my class winning the best wheels and the overall, and I just thought, like what I've done up to now has produced this. I just want to keep going and hopefully, just shoot from the stars then and just, try to win that British title.
Yeah. So did anything change between the qualifier and the finals? Anything different change with, so you were predominantly working with Vicky and Guy at this point through
Yeah.
prep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Vic, after the show, so I got back on the diet the next day, and Vicky sent over a plan and just increased the food a bit more, and I think it was around about the same cardio, just increased the food a bit more, and just because we had a bit of time before the British, and so we could get away with increasing the food a bit, and trying to just trying to put as much carbs as my body can take, so like you were saying before, like a lot of people actually get worse if depending on how long the qualifier is from the finals. So what we did was just increase the food a bit more, trying to maybe I think we gained just a bit of body weight because we knew we had a bit of time. We gained a bit of body weight, and around 7 weeks out of the British, we started tightening up a bit again for the British finals.
What was your weight? Do you remember what your weight was at the Welsh?
I was about 70 kilos.
Okay.
Funny enough, I was actually heavier at the British finals. I was 71 kilos at the British finals.
All right, and looking better. So
yeah, I don't know how that worked, but yeah. I mean, with all the carb up and water.
I swear I seen a post about you that said you were 64 kilos at the British finals.
No. So what happened? So what it was I don't think that so what it was it's weird with my weight. Like it goes up and down depending on whatever. The lowest I've ever got to was 6 to 7 kilos. So what happened at that British finals is on the day, after food and carb up and everything, I was 71 kilos. But before the carb up, I was I think I was about 69 or in the low 68.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, with the carb up and everything, obviously I think that gave me a bit more.
It's like when you hear about like Flex Lewis in the 212. He weighs in at under 212, but on stage he's actually like 220.
Exactly. So if I was to weigh in the day before the show, I'd be a lot lighter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with all the food and water and that on the show day, I was a bit more in weight.
Yeah, a bit fuller as well.
A bit fuller as well. So it was all good.
So we get around to the British. You've had another successful 13 weeks between the qualifier and the British finals. At this point, you can see you know pretty much who you're going up against, and we'll talk about Queey, Chris McCready. You've seen him as a junior win overall and best wheels at the Midland?
Northern. I actually awarded him the best wheels and overall at that show.
Oh, right.
I was the one that gave him the trophy.
Yeah. So, how did that feel? Obviously, you two have a pretty cool relationship. You're friends, but you're also competitors.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it was good to see another unrivaled athlete win the overall and best wheels. That would have made it 3 for that season because Steve Mack won the Scottish overall and best wheels as well. So it was nice to see another teammate win the overall. I mean, in terms of knowing I was gonna compete against him and that, I remember at the start of prep because I'm friends with Dave K. And I speak to him, I was speaking to him on a regular basis in prep. And he's just been like a big brother to me and just, you know, advising me on certain things. And he was always like, when you're competing and watching people and, you know, watching shows, you cannot have to like have a turn off switch, and you don't think about you up against them. Just enjoy the competition and just watch the show, but never compare yourself to others, and never think about how you're going to stack against other people. Just do what you need to do, and, you know, things will fall in place on show day.
It's that classic thing, like, you can't control who turns up in what condition.
Yeah, exactly, man. You know, I've always said this, like, no one can, what's the word? No one can,
we'll get there.
What's the word I'm looking for? No one can dictate what I'm going to look like on stage. And I can't dictate what someone else is going to look like on stage. So it doesn't really matter. You know, if they see what I look like, or I see what they look like, it doesn't matter, because I've got nothing. I don't, you know, I'm not doing their diet, or they're not doing my diet. If I'm going to look good on stage, I'm going to look good on stage. If they're going to look good on stage, they're going to look good on stage. There's nothing I can do about it, and there's nothing they can do about, you know, how good I'll look or how bad I'll look. Do you know what I mean? So it's always best not to worry about it. So
it's a thing that younger competitors, especially like in the junior ranks, they get worried about that. I remember going to one of my shows, and I was a teen at the time, and I was speaking to one of the juniors, and he was like up at the competitor list, and he was actually looking on all his competitors' Instagram pages just to see where he would be, and he was like already like putting himself down. Oh, I think this guy might beat me, but I might beat this guy. And I was like, I didn't even look at it. And I think it's a hard mentality to have. We can't all be perfect. We will, like you said, have a look at people, see how they're doing. If you come across one of their photos on Instagram, you're gonna be like, oh, they're looking good or whatever. It's just human nature.
I mean, like, physiques are different on stage, trust me. Like, that's one thing I'll tell everyone. Physiques are different on stage. Some guys don't look good in the gym, and they get on stage and, you know, they just start popping and flowing. And some guys do look good in the gym, but on stage they look like shit. So especially on Instagram as well, people know, you know, filters and angles and stuff. So that's what I would tell, you know, the younger guys: never look at someone on Instagram and think, oh, they'll beat me. Just focus on your own shit and get on stage and just do what you need to do. Because half of these people that are posting on Instagram, they don't look good on stage.
Yeah, don't compare yourself to others. And like you say, it doesn't matter what someone looks like 2 weeks out from a competition. It matters on that show day. And a lot can change. A lot can change in a week, 2 weeks, a month. And that's what you need to look out for. So we'll get back on track with the British finals. So it gets obviously you've reached that British finals, a pinnacle of natural bodybuilding, BNBF British finals. It's obviously a great achievement to be there, and I think you can agree that it's an honor to be there. So you got to battle it out in a very, very, very good junior lineup. One of the best that a lot of people were commenting on how intense that.
It's crazy. Like, I seen everyone backstage. I was like, fucking hell, like, everyone was good. It was crazy. I remember, like, I don't think there was any weak, you know, guys there. I remember seeing everyone backstage. Like, one thing about me, I can always appreciate, like, people that look good. I can always, no matter who I'm competing against, I can always, like, see a guy that looks good and think, wow, he looks good. And I can tell him. Like, I remember telling Jack Richardson, like, you look really good. Even, you know, backstage, and was going to step on stage together. So, you know, seeing everyone looked really good, and everyone was friendly. that's one thing that really, you know, shocked me actually. Like everyone was actually really, really friendly. Backstage was talking. I think we're just talking about daft stuff, to be honest, and you know, trying to pass the time because we had to, you know, wait for a bit before we got on stage. So it was good to, you know, chat with the guys before we did battle on stage.
Yeah, it was a battle. So you had the top four, I think, were just incredible. Obviously, you had Chris, you had Jack Richardson, and you had Josh Bailey. Is it Bailey?
No, it was Jack. Another Jack. I think it's Jack.
Oh, it was Jack Clough. So
yeah,
actually, top five. That was. Yeah. I think that could have gone. It genuinely could have gone a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I mean, depending on the judges and what you liked, it could have, you know, it could have switched around a little bit.
Yeah, but you were lucky enough to come out on top, which I think it was a hard decision to make. You and
1 second.
You're all good.
Right, we are back.
So so obviously it was between you and Chris from the get-go. I was in the audience, so I got to see you guys on stage. I was actually I had a really good seat right at the front in the kind of middle. So I got to see that. How did you so obviously we've seen it unfold. You got the win. How did you feel when you got that win? Because you must have been ecstatic.
Oh, mate. I remember in pre-judging, I think we did a quarter turns and they sent me and Chris back, you know, to the back of the stage. Yeah. And from then, I kind of knew that it might be between, you know, me and him. And coming off stage, everyone was telling me as well, like, you look really good. Mm-hmm. I think I'm lucky enough that I have friends that won't lie to me and won't like trying to big me up and say, oh, you smashed this. Do you know what I mean? I've got, you know, real friends and that will tell me like, oh, it's really close, and that was what everyone's saying to me. Was like,
after prejudging, I don't think anyone knew. I think it was still to play for, which made it so exciting.
Exactly. I remember I think Kevin Napier in the straight out the table, he said he had us tied going into the night show. Yeah. So I think a lot of people were like, you know, unsure how it was gonna go. So I remember a few people told me like, oh, it could go either way. Like I think you're a bit tighter in the glutes and arms, but he's a bit big. He's just a bigger frame guy, and he's got a bit more muscle. So I was like, oh, all right, I've tried my best. I've done everything I could all prep, and you know, literally, if I came second that day, I would not be disappointed at all because I gave my all in that prep. So when it came to both of us, it was me and him. I think they called Jack Richardson for third, and from then I knew that it would be out of me and Keithy. So I remember Vicky. She said before she announced the winner, she was like, it was really close, and it was actually a 4-3 split between the judges. So it was 7 judges, and 4 went for me, and 3 went for Chris. But obviously, she didn't say that at the time. And then she announced him in second, and my head just dropped. Like, I couldn't believe it, man. It was like a dream come true.
Yeah, and you could see how much it meant to you. It was a great win, and I think it was very well deserved. But it was one of them shows that I think we all have to admit that whatever way that would have went, I don't think you would have got a lot of arguments out of it.
Exactly. I don't think anyone would have been like, you know, being like, oh, that was a robbery, or this guy should have won. I think generally, like, any of us could have won, and that was what I took out of that show. Like, Q, you did well against, you know, not just anyone like these guys are, really, really good athletes, and, we all train hard and we all train to win. And, with coming on top against, guys like that, it made the win that bit sweeter, that I didn't just win against, just anyone. It was against really top athletes, and, we all pushed each other.
That's how you want to win. You don't want to. You want a good lineup. You want to beat people at their best.
Exactly.
You don't want it to be smooth sailing. You want to have a bit of a fight up there.
Exactly, man. Exactly. It was a battle, man. And I'm looking back. I looked back at the pictures, and I was like, So I looked back at some of the pictures, and I'm thinking, he got me in this shot, or I got him in this shot. Like, just trying to look at what I could, improve, and what I could work on for the next season. So yeah, I've got a lot of improvements to make, and I think I'm well on my way to making that.
Awesome. So we'll get into, so that's kind of covers your season. Unfortunately, you didn't go out to the Worlds.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had a few commitments because I work. So I work in care, and I've got a lot of elderly clients that I look after, and just getting the time off work and everything just wasn't right, and I just couldn't fit in with all the other time I've had off work, because I had a lot of time off work that year, and I just got to the end of the year and I just couldn't afford to book any more time off.
Yeah, at least you got Chris to go over and represent for Team Unrivaled.
He brought it home for Team Unrivaled, so I'm happy that he won as well.
Yeah. So that's that was one of my questions. I wanted to know what you'd done for a job, and I always see like on your Instagram some funky times of you getting back from work, or
so I work in care. I look after the elderly, and I do hours 7 in the morning till about 9 at night. That's when I'm not working long shifts. I work I think now I work a bit less, just because I try to cut my hours down a bit, because it was just getting too much. So I do half days about 2-3 times a week, and the rest full days. So it's not too bad right now. But when I was prepping, it was a lot more.
So how did that affect? Did it affect your prep in a way, or was it quite a? I hear a lot of people saying they've got physical jobs, so their food actually isn't as low because their steps are really high. How does it kind of correlate into that prep?
Yeah, it's a lot of activities. So I'm going out and stuff, going out with clients, doing shopping, or just doing activities and stuff. So it's a lot of activity. So that's why I was able to, eat a bit more food than maybe someone else would. But in terms of fitting my training around it, it was really hard, because sometimes I've had to train late in the night, about 10 o'clock, or sometimes I'll fit in, on my break in work. It's crazy, because looking back at it now, I'm thinking, how did I do that? But in prep, because you've got a routine together, you wake up early. Every day is roughly the same, because you know what time you're training, what time you're eating and stuff. So I think back then it was easier, because I had a bit more structure with it. And obviously with the goal of winning the British, I couldn't afford not to have structure.
And were they supportive with your kind of bodybuilding journey, and were you able to get your meals in and things like that?
Yeah, it was pretty. I had a lot of freedom, to be honest. So I would always pay respect to my work for being able to work, put bodybuilding around my work, and being able to make the most of it.
Yeah. So if they're listening to this podcast, thanks, guys. And what did your clients think of what you were doing? Did they understand why you were eating this weird food, or it must have had some good conversations through that year?
I know, I've had a conversation with my work colleagues as well, why are you eating this and stuff. But obviously, when they've seen the pictures and stuff, they're like, oh wow, you look really good, and oh, I understand now what you're doing this for. So everyone was kind of supportive and stuff. My family as well, very supportive. My mum, dad driving all the way to Scotland to watch me compete and staying at hotels and stuff. So everyone's supportive, man. And just I would say last year was really good, because like I said, prep wasn't too difficult, and I think just my family and Fred made it that way as well. Like, you know, just being lenient with things and being able to get away with certain things. So it was good, man.
Yeah. So a few other questions that I want to know is, one, actually, where do you live? That's what I wanted to know.
So I live in Manchester.
All right. So, what gyms do you train at?
So I train at a gym called Lifestyle Fitness. It's not a bodybuilding gym, but it's got, you know, we've actually got. Have you heard of Flex and Tone?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually got Flex and Tone, which is about 20 minutes drive for me. So I've been there a couple of times, but my main gym's Lifestyle Fitness. We've got, you know, decent machines and, you know, enough weights and stuff. So it's not too bad. And plus, I always make the most out of what I got anyway. So I don't really need, you know, the fancy machines to, you know, do what's needed.
Yeah. So you got a lot of, I know there's quite a lot of the natural bodybuilding guys that live in Manchester. Who's kind of around you that you get to?
Yeah, so we've got a few guys.
With?
We've got, you know, we've got do you know Tafara?
Yeah.
He won the juniors in 2017, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few guys. We've got Theo. We've got Chris Edge, Aaron Bevan. We've got a lot of people around there, to be honest.
You got doesn't James Poynter?
Oh yeah. See, my head's going. We've got James Poynter, Tom Poynter. Yeah, we've got a few guys around there, to be honest.
But that's a good kind of way. Manchester,
yeah, that's why
the
Northern's always producing, you know, very good talent.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to ask as well, were you always planning on just competing with the BNBF, and do you always plan just to compete with them? Because I know there is a lot of talk going around at the moment, whether it's good or not, is people saying about the different federations and where you should compete, or should you be loyal to one? What's your kind of take on this whole situation?
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of you know, talks about it, and what I've always said, like, I started bodybuilding to be at least one of the best guys, you know, competing. And if I'm gonna class myself as one of the best guys, I feel like I need to maybe, you know, compete in, you know, a lot of different stages and test myself against a number of guys, because there's certain guys that compete maybe with the BNBF that don't compete with the UK, the FBA or the MPA or just other federations. So I think next time I compete, I'll probably try to, you know, try my luck with different federations and see what I can possibly, you know, achieve with them. Because it's just nice as well. Like I think different federations run their show differently, and it's nice to have like a feel of, you know, different things. I know I think the UK, the FBA, they don't have a pre-judging at the night show, I don't think.
No, it's just they do it just so it's all in one, and then if you come back for your overall, it's again different.
Yeah, exactly. So it's different, and I think there's no right or way to do things, and I think you know, trying different things and you know, just being on different stages as well, like, you know, it's different stage lights, different pictures, and just different memories. Like I want to, you know, be able to say, oh, I've been on that stage, I've been on that stage, so yeah, future plans maybe just to, you know, compete, you know, everywhere and anywhere really.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's good. You got to try your luck, and it might. Some people say to be considered one of the best bodybuilders, you've got to do well and
you got to compete with the best. Do you know what I mean? You got to compete with the best.
Yeah, and
exactly.
It's a good thing to do as well. You may as well, while you're lean, get as much stage time as you can, because that's the best part. That's the best part of the show days.
Exactly. I mean, the more you compete, the better you get at it, and the more stages you're on, the more experience you got as well. So, for me, it's do whatever you want and compete wherever you want. I mean, if you get on stage and you're the best, they'll reward you. So there's no need to worry about maybe what other people would think or what judges are like. Because in my opinion, if you step on stage and you're the best guy on that stage, you will be rewarded as the best guy on that stage. Doesn't matter who's judging or if you're crossing over to another federation. Do you know what I mean? So it's all good in my opinion. Just do whatever you want and just compete all around.
Yeah, and I think that's a message that I think a lot of people should take on and respect.
Yeah, I remember that's do you know someone called Solomon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I respect him so much. He competed with a lot of federations last year, and he pretty much won everything, regardless of the federation and who's judging. So that just goes to show you that if you're the best on the stage, you'll get rewarded for it, no matter who you're competing against.
Yeah, well,
no matter who you're competing with.
They don't call him King Saul for nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how's your off season going?
Off season didn't start too good. I picked up so after prep, after finishing at the British finals, after winning the British, it was all gone blazing, like, oh, I need to improve. And what I didn't realize is that's gonna take time, and it's gonna take time for my body to adjust to, putting a bit more body fat and lifting a bit heavy again. So what I did stupidly was just try to get into the gym and try to push as much as possible. And I picked up quite a few, injuries. So I had a little lower back injury and some knee problems. So I had to take some time out of the gym actually. So I took a good couple of months out of the gym. Didn't train. Diet wasn't too good. So I took a couple of months out of the gym and then started getting my structure back and started eating good again, and then training hard again. And then lockdown started, and then that just put like a real down on things because I had no weights at home or no kind of equipment, so that just put me back to where I was before. I just wasn't training, and motivation was pretty down. Not because I was being lazy, just because like when I train, I like to train hard, and training with bands ain't just the same. You don't get that, you don't get that buzz, and for me, it doesn't really do much for me. So
yeah, I think everyone was similar. It's good. I think it's good that a lot of people are talking out about this now, and it's good to know that everyone's in the same boat with that kind of situation, especially now that everyone's tired of the whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be honest, man. Like I'm always an honest guy, and I'll tell you, what how I'm feeling and what's going on. Like I don't really care if anyone judge me or say, oh, you don't really want it. Do you know what I mean? So I just fell into like this. I don't know. I just fell into limbo and just wasn't really training and wasn't really eating. I did a few. I think it's about a month now. I got, I managed to get myself decent kit, and now I'm just, back training again, back eating good, and just back feeling how I should, and feeling like I've, making good progress to hopefully maybe compete, maybe next year.
Yeah, I think that was the kind of next question. You probably knew it was coming. What's the future? What's the future plans to compete in? And will you get another season? No, you'll be going up into men's open.
Yeah.
And by the looks of it, you'll probably be about a middleweight.
Yeah, a middleweight. Depending on when I weigh myself.
Yeah.
So depending on how like lean I get next time out. Do you know what I mean? I think obviously being a junior, you don't really have that that real maturity to get granite looking, like that old school muscle.
Yeah.
And being a junior, you can't really, when you try to diet to that extreme level of body fat, you just end up looking stringy just because you don't have that maturity yet. That's just going to take time. And I think over the next few years, if just by growing up and training, just by training and doing what I'm doing, I'll get a bit more maturity and hopefully try to get leaner every every time I compete. So you never know, my weight could be, you know, lighter than I was last year. So for me, it's just wherever I fall really, and I don't look into weight too much, and I don't let weight gauge how I'm looking or how I'm feeling. So just wherever I fall really, and hopefully I can do okay whatever class I'm in.
Mm-hmm. And you're thinking about competing next year, 2021?
Yeah, hopefully next year. If not next year, then definitely 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wanting that. You want to trying to compete when you know you're ready, and that might not even be from a physique standpoint. You need to be mentally recovered as well.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, and if you need longer out, you need longer out. You never know what your situation is going to be at the start of next year. And will you be going back to working with Vicky again?
I'm not too sure, as right now I've been looking at creating you know, a diet and stuff, you know, for myself, and a structured plan. And I think maybe next time I'll try I'll try what's the word? I'll try create a plan and for myself to follow. Obviously, I'll have a few people around me that you know, maybe send pictures to, and
a bit like what Dave K says. They didn't have coaches back then; they just had mates.
Yeah, like I've got a lot of mates in the sport, and good, and people with good eyes.
You've got the posing clubs.
Exactly. Obviously, you know, like Andrew and Steph, they're close friends of mine, and they've been you know, they've been great to me. So I can always just send pictures to them, and I can trust them that that they'll tell me how I'm looking. I've got guys like Rob. I've got guys like Vicky. I've got people like Daz and DSL. So I've got quite a lot of people around me, and I think I'd like to learn how to diet and, you know my own body, because you know, I think it's just about knowledge really. I just like to be able to do it myself and know that I know how to, you know, get stage lean.
Yeah, I think it's an important thing to do. You need to know your own body, and it's good to have coaches that you can kind of work with. It's not just them telling you what to do. You can kind of have a bit of input and saying, "Oh, I know that my body responds well to this," and having that, not just having them making all the decisions. You can kind of help.
Yeah,
process.
I mean, you get that nowadays, isn't it, with a lot of clients to just depend on the coaches, and it's all well and good, but you need to know why your coach is making this change, or what would happen if, you know, they put more carbs, you know, less carbs, you know, just things like that. It's good to like know your body and know, you know, what works. And there's no better feeling standing on stage knowing that, you know you've tried, and, you know, you've done well for yourself, and, you know, you can be proud of what you've achieved. And I think next time I step on stage, I think I'm confident now I'll be able to, you know, do 75-80% of the plan myself, and you know, maybe send pictures to guys like Andrew and Steph or Dave K or someone to, like, just to tell me, like, mate, you're on track, and just keep going.
Yeah, and we won't be around the bushes next time you compete. Are you gonna try and aim for that pro card?
So next time I compete, what I'm not gonna lie about it. What next time I compete is my aim right now is to win British finals in the men's open. So I'm not even thinking about a pro card or anything. I just want, for me, it's about levels and climbing up the ladder. So it's like now British Junior Champ. The next step from that is men's open. If I win, you know, if I win a British title in the men's men's open, that'll be a a good season for me. And if I don't, then I'll try again another season. But it's just about improving my physique and hopefully beating what I did last time out, and I'll be happy, man.
And do you feel any pressure from how much you achieved in your first season?
Yeah, a little bit, because I guess now it's like when I first started competing, like there was no pressure at all because no one knew me. Like I said in the spotlight, like nobody knows my name, so I don't, I've got nothing to prove, or I'm not. I shouldn't really be nervous, or because it's my first time. No one's expecting anything. But obviously, after winning the British, everyone's kind of looking at you being, maybe the next pro or the next men's open British champion. So I try not to adapt too much, and if I can beat last, the physique I brought last year, I'll be happy, man. And I think I can, and I'm seeing decent progress already to let me know that you are improving and you can be better than you was last year.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I had to kind of get into my head. It was I recently just stopped worrying about if I think I'm good enough, rather looking at my physique in a way that I know I've improved a hell of a lot from last time I stepped on stage, and that's what I'm aiming for now, is just to beat that last season's physique. And I think you're going to be in a such better mindset for that, because you're not thinking about placings, you're not thinking about British finals, you're thinking about just beating yourself, which is the most important thing. And when you're good enough, you'll get rewarded for it.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. It's always about beating your previous best. I mean, you could place worse than you did last time, but if you're beating the previous look, then you're winning, in my opinion. You're winning.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree to that 100%. And I think you see it a lot. You see it at people that have won things in the past, and you do see a lot of people that have they don't do as well in their season, but they're happier because they know that they've beaten their future physique. And even like you say, it's them steps up. You might win a junior title and then come second in men's open final, but you might look up to who you've came second to, and it might be someone that's 30 odd years old. That
exactly, man. Exactly. It's all about time. It's all about time, and your time will come. Like like I said before, if I end up maybe not winning the men's open British finals, then as long as I beat my previous best, then I'll just keep coming back again, better and better, and one day I'll achieve what I want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. And it's that work ethic that you do clearly have, from what you were saying, and I think it's just important to keep applying that work ethic and again, it's about staying in your lane. I know you would never have anything, you wouldn't come to this trait, but you see a lot of people that do well and they think they can back off the gas because they've already won something big. It's more, you want to, they say, oh, the sheep at the bottom of the hill are hungrier, but sometimes it doesn't go like that. You know what it's like to be on the top, and you want to stay up there.
Exactly. Like when you've got a taste of victory, man, like you don't want to let that go. You just want to, carry on, and you just got to keep working hard, man. You just got to keep doing what you're doing and just, stay in the right path. Just don't think, just because you've, won something in the past don't mean, you're going to do it again. Like I said, like I won last year. Doesn't mean I'm going to win again this year or the year after. Just got to keep working, and hopefully, results will show. And, yeah.
Yeah. So before we wrap things up, I want to know, is there anything that you don't like about, anything that you dislike about we'll talk about the natural bodybuilding scene. Is there anything that we're not going to copy the natural bodybuilding worldwide room 101, but is there anything that you'd like to see change in this sport, or anything that you want to get off your chest?
I'm not too sure, because I try not to involve myself in the whole like fitness industry. I've got a few mates that are in the industry, but a lot of my mates actually not in the industry. They might bodybuild, but they're not actually in the fitness industry. With the old social media and that. A lot of my friends are like, like they're bodybuilders. They respect people that get on stage and not just people that with huge amount of followers on Instagram. So we try not to like involve ourselves with like that crowd or like have any opinion about that. I've got a lot of friends that do good in the fitness industry, like guys like AJ Morris. Like he's got a big following, and I like the fact that he's got a big following, but he's still always level-headed, and he still works hard, and he's still doing good for him. He doesn't let what all of that distract him from what his goal is, and guys like that I really respect. So but as for the other guys, just posting on social media and whatever, like people can do whatever they want. I don't really have an opinion in it, to be honest. I just try to stay away when I'm not feeling something. I just try to keep my distance, and I just focus on me and the guys that I've got around me.
Yeah, that's good. And I think one of my favorite things that I've taken out of this is you're not one of these people that are completely committed to being 100% involved in the fitness industry. You're just a bodybuilder who loves it as a hobby and really does love it. And I think that's what you see people going a long way with. And I think you're going to do very well in this sport. Lastly, are you like a bodybuilding fan in general? Like
I love bodybuilding, like natural bodybuilding and non-natural bodybuilding. Like stay up watching the Olympias and DVDs, Ronnie Coleman DVDs and stuff. Like I love bodybuilding. Like a lot of people don't actually know how much I love it. And so yeah,
that's why I started this podcast, because up here in like the north of Scotland where I live, there's not a lot of people that really love bodybuilding. I'm like one of the only ones, so getting to speak to people that have that same passion for bodybuilding is great for me. And
I think
it's a cool sport.
Yeah, I think that's what's missing nowadays. Not a lot of people actually love it. Do you know what I mean? Like like old school bodybuilding, like guys like Ronnie Coleman and Dorian Yates and Jay Cutler. Like I love that kind of stuff. And even natural bodybuilding, a lot of people don't know guys like Rob Hope and Raymond James and all the other guys that's been in the past. But literally, I think I can literally name all the guys that's been before me because of how much I love it and because of how much I invest in doing my research about all these guys. And I think that's one thing that I think maybe separates me from all the other guys, or the other like young guys anyway, because I really, really like bodybuilding, and I've been following natural bodybuilding ever since I started, and just messaging guys and trying to get information out, and just I think knowing the guys that came before you and what the guys do to get to where they are really helps you a long way in making like mistakes and stuff.
You need to learn from the best, and
Definitely.
learn from, like you were saying, people's mistakes, and what makes them the champ. What's that? Even like the mindset, even the untested guys, it's their mindset and their work ethic. Like you cannot take anything away from Jay Cutler's mindset and his work ethic and how he got to the top.
Exactly,
you can't beat it.
It's not so much about wanting to look like him. It's just more about the mindset of like being the best bodybuilder in the world. Like learning from guys like Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. It's good for the young guys like me and yourself growing up aspiring to be a top natural bodybuilder one day.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's cool that you're a hardcore bodybuilding fan, because that's the type of people that I want on here. And so last thing before I go, I just want to say thanks very much for coming on. And if you're wanting to plug anything, I know you've already talked about Unrivaled on here. Where can we? Oh, my dog's barking. The dog's having a bark attack. And where can we find you on Instagram and things like that?
So I am on Instagram. I think my name's Queey_11. So that's QUEEY_11 on Instagram. And recently, because I've been at home and doing lockdown, like work. So I've been working as normal, but instead of going to gym, I've been training at home. So I've been trying to put a bit of training footage up, and I find that when I'm at home, like like filming sets and that, it's just a lot easier than doing it in the gym. And I feel like it doesn't take too much out of my workout as well. So I've been trying to post a little bit on Instagram and social media, because a few people have asked me, "Oh, how do you train, or what do you do for this?" So I've been trying to get a bit more content out there. So yeah, and a few people have actually said, "Oh, like, I'm enjoying what you're posting." I'm not saying it'll be a consistent thing, but I try to post maybe 1 or 2 videos every week or so, just to let the people know that I'm still there going and still training.
Yeah, and some motivating stage shots of you beating Steve McDonald in a front lat spread.
In a front lat spread. Yeah, Steve's a great guy, man. Like, he's one of my close friends of the sport, and as a down-to-earth guy, and he's won the British Junior title as well, and he's actually won the men's world title. So it's something I'm looking to do in the future. So he's my friend, but a guy that you can take great, you can have great respect for, that's achieved good things in the sport.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that was a very fast hour and 20 minutes or whatever it was.
Oh, we've been going for that long?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow,
but yeah, thanks again for coming on, and it was great to talk bodybuilding with you. For everyone watching the video, make sure you like this one, because what reason is there not to like the video? It takes 2 seconds, and subscribe so we can get more natural bodybuilders on here, and some just anyone. I want to get anyone that's interested in the sport they do, anyone that has a passion for what they do. That's what I want on this podcast.
Exactly, man. I think it's great doing great what you're doing, just trying to get a bit of other people out there, and just knowing other people's backgrounds and where they come from, because everyone's different. Like, some bodybuilders work some crazy jobs that you'll never think of, or have different things going on in their lives, and it's just good for other people to get a perspective on their life and how they work their way around bodybuilding. So it's always good to have knowledge of other competitors and what they're doing.
I don't want to just focus on the pros that have already done loads of podcasts. I want to find out some of these amateur guys, what they've done and how they got into this. Because I always say, how did you get into this weird and wonderful sport?
Exactly. It's crazy, isn't it? Like, we all just like standing up stage in tiny trunks posing. I mean, but we love it though. So it's all well and good.
Yeah, well, I hope to see you. I'm guaranteed I'll probably see you at a show this year if everything goes well.
Yeah, definitely.
We can get a catch up in person. But yeah, thanks again for coming on. I'll put your Instagram in the bio, and I'm sure I will see you again soon, or speak to you for a bit. We'll probably end up speaking after I've stopped recording. But yeah, thanks again for coming on.
No worries, man. No worries.
Cool. We will see you next time, guys.